Woohoo! October 20th. Is it day 36? 35? Something like that? Again, I just read the update. I think it's day 36. Sunday. I spent a good chunk of yesterday just kind of digging through the offer. I don't think it's too bad. I went out picketing this morning, way too early. I'm still not awake. Here it is, 7:30 in the evening, and I haven't been dragging all day. Got a few hours sleep when I got home, but some folks are not pleased with it. I think they're asking for too much. I think they're hoping for too much. I think they're also relying too much on the social media, which is, they were talking about it in the update about, some false information floating around out there. So read the contract. Don't rely on the social media. I don't do social media. Maybe that's why I'm a little more down to earth. But I talked to a couple of folks this morning that it's just, I don't know, they've got their ideas misconstrued, and it's hard to listen to them. It's hard to even have a conversation with them. When you look at what's offered, and they're trying to dig too deep into this, and what if this happens, what if that, and they could change this, and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, it's a contract. And then what happens next time? They could do this, that. Well, that's next time. That's 4 years down the road. So, I don't know. It's frustrating. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail. I've been going through it. I don't see any reason why not to accept it. Hopefully that's not going to create too many issues. But it's a good bump in pay. It's locking in our medical, capped at 16%. Yeah, we're not getting the pension back. I hate to say it, that's never going to happen. But they're putting some effort into the 401k, plus a $5,000 contribution. I mean, that in its own right is nothing to sneeze at. Considering I think I'm putting in right around $1,000 a paycheck. So that's 2.5 months worth of contribution for me. Plus the pay is going up. So even if I don't increase my contribution amount, that amount's going to go up because it's based off a percentage. So, and I don't know, I'm not seeing a lot of negative out of this. But some of these folks are just digging way too deep. So, no locations yet for the vote. Hopefully going to hear by tomorrow. They've got to secure some spots big enough to get everybody, have parking and room to get everybody in. Can't really use a public school because they're all in service right now. Stadiums, middle of the day, middle of the week, that's not going to be fun. So I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe fairgrounds. But again, middle of the day driving, that's going to mess up a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to have to hold out and see. But yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of bad with this. It's probably better than we've ever had. I don't see it getting any better than it is. If it does, it'd just be marginal. Even just bumping up our annual bonus percentage right there helps out. And COLAs, that formula hasn't changed. I know a lot of people want that to change. They don't think it's a good formula. It's one of those things, they don't have to give it to us, although it's in our contract. But it's based off the national average, And here in Puget Sound, we're at the top end of the national average, so people want that to reflect, but I think that's going to be a fight for another time. I think what we're getting right now is pretty good. So we'll vote on it on Wednesday. We'll make our determinations and see when we go back to work. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail and people use their brains and don't just rely on the cell phones and the computers and the social media. They were talking about some misinformation floating around through the media. I haven't seen any. A few articles I've read just talked about, hey, here's what they're offering, and it's pretty much the same offer that they started with that said this is our last and final, that we rejected, and then they came out with a little bit more money and said this is our last and final, but we didn't vote on because of the way the company presented it and didn't go through the proper channels and kind of went against our ideas of how a contract should be negotiated. So, I mean, it's a 10% bump over what their first offer was, so plus the ratification signing bonus. And a lot of people want more money out of that, but everybody wants more money. I get it, but overtime improvements where we're not stuck working as much overtime. They used to do, they could mandatory you for 2 days, so you'd work 19 days straight, get 1 weekend off, and they could stick you on for 19 more days. And I've done that many times, and it's rough. And then we called it the race to 128. You had to get to 128 hours of overtime, not just regular work, but 128 hours of overtime in a quarter. And then they couldn't mandate you anymore. Well, they changed the rule and bumped that down to 112. And that has now been, according to what I read, that's been written into the contract. Now it's not a letter of understanding. It's in the contract. It's set in stone. So, plus I think, I could be wrong on this, they can't mandate you more than 1 weekend. I think I could be wrong on that. I've been reading back and forth, but I'm not a big overtime fan. I'm not a big, if I have to work it, I'll work it. Although I think it's going to be flowing like water here pretty soon once we get back to work, especially for my program, because we got the last few airplanes to finish. So I think we're going to be pretty busy for the rest of the year. They're going to want to try to finish those up as soon as possible. But outside of that, I'm tired, I'm groggy. I went through and read the contract multiple times, and I got the individual pages, the ones I was having a hard time reading yesterday. They've got those where you could pull them up separately and read through them all. What are there, 8 or 9? Got a economist that's done a report for the different pay grades as to how it'll benefit you, and so plus the COLAs, those factor into your pay increases from year to year. So we get a 12% if we ratify it. Next year is it 8 or 7? I think it's 8. But that's on top of, or that's including any COLAs for the next year. So I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, those aren't included, or they're going to just yank those from us or whatever. So like I say, there's a lot of misinformation going on out there right now. I haven't come across any because I'm not on the Facebook page. I think that's one of the worst things, or Twitter or any of those other garbage sites. I don't do any of that stuff. So, but did that. My ballot showed up, so I spent the evening yesterday just going through that. Such a dry read, and I hate politics. But that's what we got to do. Set our own futures. So, yeah. picketed early this morning. I'm still just out of it. I slept late, and what did I have? I had some lasagna. That's a good thing about having that family-sized Costco lasagna. It was just plop a slab of that on the plate, throw it in the microwave. And that's all I've had today so far. So, didn't get anything done. It's been raining off and on. Just sitting back there watching YouTube, and I'm watching one of the live feeds for a railroad channel out of Skycomish. And I mean, all you're seeing is the track, and it's raining, and it's cloudy, and then every couple hours a train goes by. I wake up and watch that, and then I just kind of catnap and doze, and it's like a real exciting day today. But yeah, it's supposed to be drier tomorrow, I think. So we'll get into something tomorrow. Heavily trimmed that tree out front, so I need to get some of that cleaned up and thrown in the garbage can. But yeah, that's where we're at. We'll give it a couple more days, see how it goes. I know a couple of my buddies that I've been talking to. I mean, we're kind of on the same page, but we're all not social media freaks. So yeah, it looks like a decent contract. I mean, it's not bad. Less out of pocket, more pay, more contributions for retirement. I know that one of the big hang-ups that there's, still in the contract. They're going to secure the program, the next airplane program, for the life of this contract, which is 4 years, 2028. They can just change that after the contract. Yeah, they could. But in yesterday's update, the union was saying we're going to continue to fight for that in the next contract. And maybe that's something we have to go on strike for again. If the company says, hey, we're going to yank this and we're going to move this to Louisiana or Alabama or something. So that's the joys of being in a union shop. Got to be prepared to fight for what you want, your own future. That's kind of why we were in the position we were in before this strike. We had given up so much because the company said, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to move the airplane to another area. They threatened that with the 737. They threatened that with the 777. Then they still took the 787. So, but it is what it is. What, 13 more years? Fingers crossed. Maybe I can retire. This extra chunk of money will definitely help with that. So, get out of the stress and the heartache and having to deal with the strikes, and all the people, and I'll probably wind up staying here because I can't afford to buy anything else. Won't be able to get out of the area. So, alrighty, I think that's enough yakking. That's gone way too long. Whole lot of nothing. I'm tired. I'm going to go back in the back room and watch some more of the live feed of the trains in the rain. I've had a couple other videos going on, so, but nothing too exciting. Nothing I can even remember. I'm so groggy today. Haven't even stepped foot outside, really, other than being out this morning. I didn't take the hat. Well, I took the hat. I left it in the car. It was kind of muggy, so I took a lighter weight hat with. I did put on the new thermals, but I don't like them. I wore them the first day they showed up, and it felt like I was just sucking all the heat out of my legs. So my legs felt cold the whole time I was wearing them. Same thing with this morning. So they're not that great. I'm not impressed with them. But no, other than that, shutting this thing off. Lazy night. We'll see what we can get into tomorrow. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.